Today we need to talk about Jung Kook saying things are not okay and what happened there. We need to get into Jung Kook forced to perform during the Today show in some questionable conditions, and then we have some shocking pics that have come out. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, taste Blingmark merch, and let's go. We need to talk about some pictures that were posted recently and why it seems everyone and their mother is talking about it online. This recent photo I want to talk about involves RM and Jennie, and if you're new to K-pop, you might be thinking, what is the literal big deal here? And in most cases, it's not a big deal at all. Except in K-pop in this generation, two of the biggest groups having their members interact is a scandal because the fandom hates each other. So the group Blackpink and BTS in this case can never interact with each other or they'll get cancelled by the fandom. I've seen some go as far as to say that if BTS ever interacts with a Blackpink member, it's considered a betrayal to the fandom. And the interesting thing here is that the boys are extremely busy. While their lives are the fandom and they try to keep up with the fandom as much as they can, their job is not to babysit the fandom and keep up with every little thing, each subset and subculture that the fandom does. So when they don't know or aren't keeping track of whoever ARMY hates this time around, then they get canceled. Make that make sense. So what happened this time and what was the photo or alleged Jennie and RM interaction? So many of you are probably aware of the singer Soyun. This is an artist that RM recently collaborated with to create the song Smoke Sprite. RM is such a big fan of Soyun and was very excited to have been a part of the track. It seemed like Soyun had some sort of party or had some sort of get-together with all her friends. Among the people she invited Jennie and RM. This is also what sprung the RM and Karina from aespa's dating rumor. Currently, I just feel like since people are upset with RM, everything that he has been doing lately is causing the fans or viewers to be extremely upset with him, and thus people are looking for things to talk about with RM. So RM being with Jennie has brought up a situation that the fandom is aware would get RM in some heat with at least some blinks, with them not liking BTS or RM. Soyun posted her Instagram a bunch of Polaroid pictures, and among those pictures we are seeing a couple of Polaroids with RM and then some others with Jennie. People were saying that Soyun inadvertently created a photo with Jennie and RM being in the same frame, an interaction that never happens publicly. People were very shocked about this, and I was seeing arguments online with those arguing that RM would never talk to someone like Jennie. And I think this is such a ridiculous thing to say. If they were at the same party, the likelihood of them talking to each other is definitely going to happen. They're literally going to say hi, and they literally do not hate each other. Even the fandoms inciting war against each other can't even clarify or explain why they hate the other group. They hate the other group because the other group's fandom insults their favorite artist. So if you step out of that mentality, then it's not hard to realize that the actual members themselves of each group have no reason to hate each other. What? They hate each other because that's what a bunch of strangers are doing online. They can't have their own opinion that don't reflect a bunch of people who literally lack common sense. The members work so hard in creating art and doing their best to make the art that they can. And they do it in hopes of obviously creating art, but also having a sense of personal freedom. The reason why so many people want to be idols is because idols are rich and famous, and we associate richness and fame as independence from the everyday. And that if we're rich and famous, our lives would be easier. So obviously it's very hard when it actually seems to be doing the opposite effect and seems to imprison them. JungKook has recently been doing his promotion, and people are utterly shocked and scared as they feel like he's been forced or imprisoned to work during what happened recently. So if you aren't aware, JungKook was invited on the Today show to perform his song. A lot of ARMYs have literally flown out and camped out to see JungKook perform, and everyone was so excited. These opportunities are so great, and I believe when the network announces who will perform, they give out a bunch of free tickets or maybe hold a raffle for everyone to enter. The goal of these shows is not to make any sort of money, but to give the idol or artist a chance to perform in front of a crowd. Performers often like to have energy to feed off of, and of course, fans are welcome to apply to get tickets. This show was held in New York, and New York weather is getting very cold lately. If you've been in New York, you'll know the weather is extremely sporadic. It can literally be warm at 3 p.m. and then at 4 p.m. it's snowing. So some days here in New York, even though it's fall, can start to feel like winter. Everyone in the audience was bundled up, but JungKook was actually only wearing a blazer. So he must have been very cold. Jungkook actually throughout the show was gesturing that he was cold and shivering, and then at one point even asked through the microphone if everyone was cold. During the backstage interview, people were saying you could see Jungkook jumping up and down to warm up and even clenching his fist to stop himself from shivering. And then during mid-show, Jungkook was talking to the staff backstage to say how it's extremely difficult for him to sing due to the cold wind hitting his face and going through his nose. And I can definitely understand that. It's quite hard to even talk when there's heavy wind blowing at you. The staff did eventually put a jacket on Jungkook, and people were not happy about this. There were even people saying that for the first time ever, they wished the show would end so that Jungkook could go and get warm. And others were upset that this was even an issue, to say that Jungkook shouldn't be forced or allowed to work in such conditions, as he could get severely sick and this could ruin the rest of his promotion schedule. However, I would love to challenge this and say that Jungkook is not being forced to do anything. Even when labels came up to Jungkook and pitched him 7 or whatever was pitched, Jungkook could have still chosen to say no and continue his break if he wanted to do that. Jungkook and BTS members signed a BTS contract stating that they have to come back as BTS to promote. They are not obligated to do any solo activity, but Jungkook wanted to do that. As for him wearing less clothes or only a blazer and then obviously being cold, also a decision that was made by him. Yes, a stylist would have come over to him and say, oh, we think this blazer would look good on you, but that's usually done backstage at the venue, meaning Jungkook would have likely traveled from his hotel to the venue and be well aware of if it was cold outside, meaning by the time the outfit is suggested to him, he can easily turn to the stylist and say, yeah, I'm going to be really cold. But no, Jungkook wanted to deal with it because he felt like just by wearing the blazer, he was going to look epic on stage and it would give him that more grown-up look. And I'm sure we've all experienced that when we have a cute outfit on and the weather is not cooperating. You just deal with it because you want to look cute. You can tell a lot of this stuff is self-pushed and sort of self-inflicted, and the reason he does this is because he wishes to grow and sell his albums. He wants to be successful. So much so that apparently Jungkook felt the need to apologize because he did not give the fantasy that he wanted to give on set. Jungkook is always the first to be overly critical when it comes to his singing, dancing, and all those things. And no surprise there, as the audience of K-pop tends to be pretty harsh also. Jungkook was even seen a long time ago crying after giving what he thought was a bad performance or couldn't perform due to an injury. Jungkook wrote on Weverse that he is very sorry and went as far as to say the live performance was ruined, saying he does not have an excuse and will do better next time. Basically, everyone felt like Jungkook was saying that he was not okay in this instance. And people were very shocked at this statement or apology because everyone loved the performance, and until he mentioned what he mentioned, people thought it was fine. I don't think Jungkook should be so harsh on himself. There really wasn't much he could have done to prepare for that, or really what his team could have done. Even if he didn't wear a blazer but he wore a heavy jacket, it wouldn't change the fact that it's still difficult to sing with the wind blowing. And really then the only person to blame here is for the Today Show not finding a venue in which Jungkook could do his performance indoors. For such conditions and cold temperatures, there at least has to be some sort of wind blockade they can put up. People were still concerned over Jungkook's health and if he'd get a cold. Maybe, but there's literally medicine and stuff for that. And trust me when I say there's literally medicine that can almost rid symptoms of a cold within just a few days or even a day. So if anything, Jungkook may get a cold but then be back in commission right away. I honestly would not even worry about such a situation, and he is old enough and has enough money to know how to take care of himself and then have the best medical team looking after him. When the cost of him being healthy is much cheaper than him missing out on days of work, he'll be healthy and everyone will make sure of it. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.